And now we have the co-main event at UFC 325. And as always, if you're enjoying the content here, hit that like and subscribe button as Carlos breaks down Dan, the Hangman Hooker, taking on Benoit Saint-Denis.
So I went with Dan Hooker in this one. And the reason I did was pretty much because Saint Denis he's not gonna pose the same threat that Aaran Carlos does. If he gets Dan Hooker down, Hooker's gonna get back up. As I think Saint Denis poses about the same ground threat as someone like Gamrot, as we discussed. I think that Saint Denis can get him down. I just think Hooker can get back up. Now, when it comes to the submission defense, I feel that Hooker, like I said, he's not going against someone like Sarukian. He's not going against someone like Khabib. So I'm not saying that Saint Denis can't submit him. I'm just saying I think he's not at that level to be able to submit Hooker, unless maybe he gets Hooker hurt or something early in the fight, which I don't see that happening either. I also think maybe by round two, Saint Denis is going to have a hard time with his cardio, trying to keep Dan down, trying to fight on the feet, because I think at some point he's going to struggle to get takedowns, and I feel that's where Dan Hooker is going to open up on him. And like I told you, I feel maybe a second round finish coming on. May not even be a finish. It might go to decision. That's just my feeling. I think second round, Saint Denis is going to use a lot of strength trying to take him down, trying to keep him down, and he's going to be too worn out to get takedowns. Dan's going to beat him up on the feet, beat him up on the ground. Somehow, whether it's sub or KO, he's going to get it done.
I'm going with Dan, the Hangman Hooker. And before I break this one down, I got to say, man, if you're a UFC fan, this is a great fucking fight. Hats off to the UFC. Round of applause. Really. Round of applause. Really happy with this fight. Co-main event. Both guys bringing it. Both guys are always absolute savages when they step into the cage. Benoit Saint-Denis obviously got the pedigree chops for the grappling. Can stand with the good kickboxing. Obviously has that nice head kick. And he's, tough as nails. The guy comes in, he's always ready to scrap, whether he gets beaten up and gets finished, or he's a guy that looks to take people's heads off. Dan Hooker very much the same way. I am gonna lean to Dan Hooker here. I know he's the underdog here. I like him in this matchup. I think Saint-Denis early is going to have a lot of success. He's going to be the one pushing forward. He's going to look to take this fight to the ground, kind of make it a gritty back and forth fight. He's going to try to push Hooker up against the fence. But we know with Dan Hooker, he's got good takedown defense. And as Carlos mentioned, that I don't think Benoit Saint-Denis got the kind of grappling and scrambling ability that Aaran Sarukian has. I think this fight plays out similar to the Gamrot fight. I think you see, Benoit Saint-Denis early landing shots in the clinch, trying to look for the takedowns. Both guys have moments on the feet, but ultimately Benoit Saint-Denis is going to maybe get a takedown late in a round to seal it. And then as the fight progresses, Saint-Denis is going to get a little bit more tired. Dan, the Hangman Hooker, is going to be able to keep the fight standing, maybe land that nice knee up the middle that he likes as Benoit Saint-Denis comes in for an entry and for his takedowns. And Dan starts to take over with his cardio. He's a guy that loves to be in a dogfight. I think he needs to get punched in the face a few times before he really gets going.
What the hell are you doing? I'm kicking my ass! Do you mind?
You've seen as well, if you've ever seen the one fight, I can't remember which one it is, but he goes over to his corner and he's like bad, bruised, bleeding. And he's like, I fucking love this shit. And I think that in this fight, he's got an opponent here realistically that he's not going to be able to take him down consistently and be able to get top pressure on top, to kind of wear on Dan. I don't think he's going to be able to submit him either. And I think that's going to cause Benoit Saint-Denis to get tired. I think Dan's going to see the chink in his armor and he's going to capitalize here. So I think if this was a 5-round fight, I would feel even more confident in Dan. I do think the fact that it's 3 has me a little bit skeptical, especially if Benoit Saint-Denis can, dish out a lot of damage early in round 1 and 2. But I'm going to go with Dan, the Hangman Hooker here, a guy that's been around the block, fought Dustin Poirier in a back and forth war. He does a good job of defending the takedowns. I think he does that here and ultimately gets his hand raised in his part of the world. And Benoit Saint-Denis, not taking anything away from him, but we have seen inconsistent performances in the past from him. I think that Moicano fight was definitely a question mark, kind of a head scratcher moment. I wouldn't be surprised if he had another one here against Dan, the Hangman Hooker, if he can't get this fight to the ground.